Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Because it's time to write now.
All right, hey everyone. Kaufman's not going to be here for about an hour, so you're stuck with me starting this. And you got Calvin with us tonight, and we're going to be starting off with a writing sprint. Anyone that jumps in, please give some kind of topic to talk about. So I have, because we're going to have 15 minutes before Kaufman should be getting on, where I'm going to be stuck here alone. All right. So we're going to start off with a 45-minute writing sprint. A little bit longer tonight, but just get this right off the bat because we all have work to do. We all know that. We're not going to procrastinate tonight. And I will be playing some of my own music, and hope to God you guys can hear it this time.
So what are you talking about? We are writers. All we do is procrastinate.
Well, let's try not to. Let's try not to procrastinate. Hi, Crow. All right. Let's see if that works. Hope you guys can hear this. And we are starting. All right. So hopefully everyone got some writing done. I did not get as much done as I wanted, but that is fine. But nice to see you, Courtney.
It's nice to see you.
Oh, and we have somebody else. And hi, Tiara. Oh, crap.
How's it going?
Oh, not bad. And with you?
I'm good. I don't mind. Okay, I was like, why am I?
I don't mind being main screen for like a second, but this has been too long.
Oh,
How's it going?
You're taking over Kaufman's stream. Go us.
Yes.
yeah, he's been traveling this week, so asked me to basically take over for him until he got here. But
Fun.
nice to actually have some people to chat with, so I'm not just sitting here on my own awkwardly.
There.
But Lynn actually had a good topic idea that I will admit I did not know these words, but I knew what this was. Introspection and interiority and on-page introspection. I
Yeah.
actually do those a lot. I just didn't know the word for that.
Same. I feel like that's what that is an example of, like, Fallen is an example of that. There's a lot of internal happening.
Yeah, the introspection is all the internal thoughts and feelings and things that it's what we see within the character without them acting, and the on-page introspection is the action. So
Yeah.
let's see. I actually looked up like some definition just to get like a better idea to describe it. The interiority, you want to show how a character is feeling in real time, building emotional tension or conflict, and need to subtly show the character's bias, fears, or desires without being aware of it. So again, just all the internal stuff. The on-page introspection, the character is actively reflecting on decisions and emotions. You want to show their growth or realization, or the character's at a turning point or making a critical choice. Yeah, hi Crow. Come on.
Oh, I heard that little meow.
Yep, he's gonna join me here in a second.
Oh,
It's okay. My dog heard that little meow too.
mine.
So do you guys deal with introspection and then in the interiority a lot?
I mean, Fallen's all about overcoming different types of grief, which is a very personal, like, internal situation that has like external reactions, and like you can view it externally, but it's a very internal thing. So I would say that I deal with that a lot. And I feel like that emotional depth, I not to toot my own horn or anything, but I feel like I excel at that a little bit. And so, and like when I looked it up, because I also like knew what those words, but didn't know what those words, like I knew what it was, but didn't know the title.
Yeah.
I looked up pros and cons because I was like, hey, no, like I do that. And so I was like, well, what are the cons to it? And they were like, it slows down the pace. And I was like, it's setting my pace. So no. But it can
I guess that's kind of more of like a moment to moment kind of thing if it slows it down or not.
Yeah. And it says it can cause reader fatigue. And I was like, well, we're reading in our heads. How is that reader fatigue?
Maybe if it's done too often, if you do that too much, maybe is my guess.
Yeah, or it's not pushing like anything else in writing. If it's not pushing the plot through,
Yeah.
yeah.
Plus, also, I guess it also depends on what exactly is the story about, because some books can have a lot more of that than another book. Like an action book, don't really want a lot of internal stuff. You really want to see the action. You want to read about the characters doing this, doing that. But in like a really emotional book, like you said, yours is characters overcoming what was it, grief? You said.
Yeah, it's grief of all forms. Every character in the book is touched by loss in some way.
In a book like that, you're going to expect a lot of that internal stuff.
Yeah, and I also know, like, in the middle of the spicy scenes, there's no internal. There's like none, because there doesn't need to be. Like, that needs to be, to get you out of those internal and, like, push the plot through.
Yeah. What about you, Tiara?
I was kind of thinking about it. I was like, what do I like? But I think I get close, but I do try to have like very character driven stories, and like these characters are very like you can understand their world through their I really try to get into the character's head. So like I don't know, I guess but yeah.
I know a lot of my characters, I tend to kind of, depending on the character itself, I kind of go between the introspection and the and everything else. Like, I have one character right now. It's from my One Piece fan fiction. He's a Zoan Devil Fruit user, which means he can shapeshift into a cat. He's basically a giant, super anxious snow leopard. And so he actually has a mixture of, he acts out what he's feeling, and then he internalizes everything depending on the scene. Like, like Courtney, you just said, spicy scenes, they don't need that kind of internal thing. There is like a tiny bit in his spicy scene where he does have an internalized thought, but it's more because he's drunk. Yeah. So it fits with that. But then I've had other moments where he's he left button, where he's actually, he has to act because thinking in that moment is literally going to cost him his life. Near the fan fiction, it's being rewritten, but the ending's not changed. In the original one, he ends up dying in the end. There was no point in an internal thought for that moment. It was literally just, do this or it's going to end badly. It still ends badly, but it could have ended differently.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how we actually use that kind of stuff without knowing the actual terms, though.
Yeah, because like I'm still like trying to, because I, it's one thing to like sit in English class and learn all the terms and all this stuff, the metaphors, all that, and then it's in my head, at least, my very bad brain that is. But sometimes it could be hard to kind of be like, okay, this is what I'm specifically doing here. I'm just telling the story. Like,
yeah,
maybe
it's not
I
like
am
we're
doing something interesting with the
dictionary.
writing, but I don't know.
Yeah, we're not studying dictionaries. And I'm like a big, yeah, I have a favorite quote that is like, everyone's like, Google's free. And my comeback to that is always, I don't know what I don't know until I'm told I don't know it. Google might be free, but I'm just not on Google questioning things I don't know about because I don't know about them.
Yeah, how are you going to know if you don't know it when you don't know what you don't know?
Exactly. And sometimes I can understand, I know it, I just didn't know it had a title. Culture and world and change, and what do you guys call what you push at the shopping, or when you're shopping and getting groceries? There's like 7 different names for that. So like, if I said a buggy and you weren't aware of it, do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
I've encountered that a lot, is different terms for different things from around the world. And sometimes it's actually kind of easy to tell, either because it's something commonly like biscuits or cookies, like, from the UK versus the US.
Right.
But then like the buggy, the first time I heard that, I had no idea what that was.
Yeah.
When I hear buggy, I think of like stroller almost.
That's what I originally thought.
You think of like a pram?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And then like some people think of like Amish or horse-drawn carriage as like horse and buggy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. That is why I love my Kindle, and sometimes it will tell me the definition of words. I'm like, I'm not picturing that, so what's the definition so I can find out which one you meant?
That is always good when it offers you a definition, because there's some things like that where it's got like 10 different meanings depending on what part of the world you're from.
Right, but you have the context because you have the sentence there, and yeah.
True, but sometimes I can't, for some odd reason, I know the word I'm thinking of, but I know there's a few words out there that they are vague enough in certain contexts that it is difficult to tell what they are.
Yeah. As a writer, do you try to bypass those words? Because they
Depends on
frustrate you.
the word and depends on what I'm doing. I've had some scenes where it's like I can find a better word, but then there's other scenes, like with Brennar, for example, from Pirates. The guy's a genius. I should probably be using smart words for him.
Yeah.
But then there's other moments where it's like, yeah, the dumber word fits better.
Yeah.
Right, but then you can go back to how do you define intelligence? Because if that's a word that people define differently, I defined intelligence as a person who is smart, obviously, but they walk into a room and they do not think they're the smartest person. They believe they can learn from every person in there.
Right.
As opposed to arrogance, who walks into a room and thinks they are the smartest person.
Yeah.
Intelligence is knowing you're not.
Yep.
Is that Kaufman? Wait, no, did I hear a voice? I thought I heard a yep.
No, you're just calling Kaufman out.
Losing my mind.
Might have heard my kid.
I'm hearing him from the ether.
Tiara wakes up in the middle of the night. Did I hear Kaufman?
Put a dragon on it.
Oh my gosh, my niece calls him Dragon Guy.
Really? Oh, that's so
like,
funny.
oh, are you on with that Dragon Guy? Can I talk to that Dragon Guy? All the time.
That is adorable.
I love that.
Did you guys see that video when he was showing the stickers and she was like, Dragon stickers? Immediately had to go buy her some.
That is cute.
Aww,
But Lynn had another topic idea, though, that I thought was kind of interesting. Where does an omniscient narrator become their own character? Do not ask me to pronounce that word because it's like one of the most difficult words for me to do.
Omniscient?
Yes, thank you. For some reason, I can never get that word.
For me, it's see, I can't do it. Aurora.
I got one for you after.
I can't say it.
Aurora?
Like the plant, a loopalipalip. I'll never say it.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get it out. I've had people break it down for me, and I still can't say it. It's always a loopalipalip list. Like, I don't know why I add more syllables to that word.
But no, I thought that was an interesting thing, is the omniscient narrator becomes her own character. Let's see, from the description that I got, has a distinct voice, style, or bias, directly addresses the leader with opinions, humor, or commentary, offers insights or perspectives that clearly differ from the character's own. Basically, it just sounds like breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, I think when the narrator gets in the way of the story and is like doing too much telling and like just getting in the middle, and like, but yeah, like breaking the fourth wall. I like that's where it's like a problem.
Yeah. Depending on the book, that might be okay, but I think it would really depend on the book. I personally have not read a bunch of stuff that have a narrator. The only one I can think of is The Book Thief. That's the first one that comes to mind.
I feel like they would have watched too much. What's that? Not Daredevil. What's the guy who like cuts his hands off and he grows a new hand?
Deadpool?
Deadpool, yeah.
You watched too much Deadpool. And I only remember that scene because my son was obsessed and he was like, I can cut my hand off and it'll grow back as a little baby hand. I was like, no, you can't. You're not Deadpool. You cannot do that. Do not do that. Your hand will not grow back.
Oh, gotta love kids.
Yeah.
Gotta love kids.
You gotta love the one upon them in bubbles. till they're 18 and they're no longer,
Are you sure that would even work with most kids?
No, it would not have worked with my son. No. My son got stitches in his forehead because he was a habitual thumb sucker and pulled almost needed a skin graft on his thumb because he just wouldn't stop because ow, I don't know why you're not stopping. And he was looking at his dad while his dad was cutting off the band so he could wash it. And the knife pops up and hits my kid in the head. That's my kid.
Oh no!
And then while getting stitches, he's talking to the doctor and he's like, that doesn't hurt at all. You got numbed. Duh. Chill out, homie. Maybe
So
let's not come back here.
I have a question for the panel today. What are we consuming? What are we watching, reading, whatever that is really, I don't know, I guess inspiring or something that you've been really moved by or inspired by or whatever?
I know lately I've been binging One Piece again. I'm rewatching through the series, and right now I'm near the end of the Skypiea arc. Well, yeah, getting towards the end where Luffy kicks Enel's butt, but
You said his name 3 times. He's here.
There he is.
It's still in the ether. You might want to follow it.
Oh yeah, I have no idea where you're at.
Sansa's getting comfortable.
Hello. There we go. What's up? How are you guys doing? Yes, I appear. I'm here. In the either. I was, I tried to get here on time, but in my travels, did I yonder embark against dragons and crows and fairies and pixies. I even sensed a Jezebel somewhere off in the distance.
No phoenixes?
Oh, man. Tiara, great to see you here as well, my friend.
It's good to be here. I had the day off.
the-
I was like, I might as well hang out.
I know, actually, I could not have to go work today.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, who doesn't? I think Sansa just really wanted to be involved.
She did. As soon as you got on, she jumped up here and sat down and got comfortable. I was like, oh, okay.
Sansa's like, all right, the conversation's starting now.
Yeah, she said we're ready to lock in.
I'm waiting for my niece to open the door and be like, it's the dragon guy.
This is so cute.
The dragon guy. I love it. I'll take it.
Yeah. And then when she gets on here and you're on screen, she's silent. She's whispering in my ear the whole time. Tell him I said hi. Just say it.
Oh, that is cute.
Man. How has how have the writing vibes been today for all y'all? Have we been in any good conversations?
Our conversations have been great.
20 minutes of conversation. Talked about on-screen. Let's see, on-screen introspection and perspective and everything. I had this up. I was looking at it.
Well,
Interiority and on-screen introspection. And then we were talking about the omniscient narrator becoming the character.
Yeah.
The omniscient narrator becoming the character. You know what's interesting is when I think about breaking up writing on a page, I know I did the channel membership video, it was last week, where I basically broke up writing into action. It's either action, dialogue, or interiority. When I think about what are the styles of things we can write on a page, I'm like, those are the 3 things I think of when developing characters, setting scenes, and so on and so forth. But the 4th one that I always think of separate as it is the narrator, right? Because narrator's not necessarily interiority, it's not dialogue, and it's not action.
Yeah.
Per se. Now it could be explaining those things, but I think depending on the style of story that you're writing, sometimes the narrator blends into tries to blend into the background, and then sometimes they want to be separate. Do you guys, as writers or even readers, do you guys like when you can feel that the narrator is part of the story, or do you want them to be invisible?
I think it depends on the story.
It depends on the story.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't read a lot of like third person. Like a lot of it's first person, and like so it would feel weird to have a narrator. I'm in someone's head.
Which I guess that makes sense, because I'm so used to the fantasy genre, where you tend to get third person omniscient much more frequently.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm. Although I think one of my favorite books, but it's been so long. I think this is from when I was younger, where where the narrator was so involved in the storytelling. I want to say it was a series of unfortunate events, way long ago, young
Oh,
adult.
Yeah.
I was like, but that was stylistically done in a way where it felt like the narrator was telling the story of the kids,
Yeah.
and it was very, very ingrained in the narrative itself.
Yeah, that was, I think, one of the more unique ones. Like you said,
Mhm.
it was stylized that way. It was purposely done that way, and
Whereas
it
almost
really
like a
did
plot
feel
point.
like a storyteller.
Like the narrator themselves was almost like making themselves part of the plot.
Yeah, it did feel like that.
It was
I was actually just reading those the other day. I have like the entire series, and
same.
it's interesting. The only other narrator book that I know is the Book Thief, and the narrator in that one was Death.
That must be a fun narrator.
Oh yeah, no, that was fun. From what I can remember, it's been years since I've read that book. Death following around this girl rescuing with books that she got from book burnings.
Ooh.
Yeah, I need to read it again. I have a copy, but it's like that and the series Unfortunate Events are the only two series I can think of that have narrators. The rest of them, not so much.
So I think the real question is, if
tried.
we could write a story and it was more about the narrator, what type of narrator would you guys want to have?
Deadpool, which was the only one I came up with before you came in.
Wait, which one?
Deadpool.
I knew you were going to say Deadpool. I'm like, Deadpool. I mean, Deadpool vs. Wolverine was a great movie. I mean, there's a reason people love Deadpool as a narrator. Deadpool's hilarious.
The sarcasm, that's right in my wheelhouse.
So, Courtney, I want you to just write a story where Deadpool is your narrator.
Might have to
and try to make it like a love story.
Oh my God. Deadpool is a love story.
I think I wrote that in middle school.
Like a tragic love story. The most tragic of love stories.
Yeah, Deadpool was my inspiration for Fallen. No,
really? You're like, that's where all the tragedy started from. It started from his what was that? Was that the Backstreet Boys dance at the beginning of the movie? That was like one of the best like opening credit scenes. I don't think I had ever seen an opening credit scene for a movie where the credits themselves were used as part of the action of the shots. And
what movie was that? Was that from?
Did you guys watch Wolverine vs. Deadpool? I just assumed everyone's seen it because it's so funny.
Nope.
I don't like Marvel. I don't watch superhero movies. That's why it's so funny that Deadpool was the one that came to my mind, but it was because of my kid. Like, I've never seen it. I've just seen clips.
I just saw Thunderbolts, and before that, the last Marvel movie I saw was Black Panther 2. And that was
that was a while ago. I mean, I feel like I've seen Marvel stuff over the years, but I mean, I think in the new age of Marvel, and if there's any Marvel fans in the chat, just drop a comment. I'd love to hear. I think like Marvel is kind of like this last phase, which really the last 3 to 4 years, they've really struggled with trying to balance between the television shows and the film universe, and a lot of the movies that flopped. But I think the standout ones that did very well was the Spider-Man movie, because who didn't want all the Spider-Mans to be brought back into one movie? Like 3 hours of fan service right there.
I didn't see that either.
Well done.
I did see that one. I was bribed with pretzels. Like the
and then
it was
and then I think the Deadpool, Wolverine, and Deadpool was the other like huge box office.
Oh yeah,
Wolverine, I couldn't. Is it Hugh? Hugh
Huh?
Jackman?
Yeah.
Jackman.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman.
Okay.
Well, it's like 3 hours of Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. And the two of them are just hilarious together.
Yeah, that sounds entertaining.
Oh man, but I mean, it's kind of with all their, it's all with all like the Disney, with all of the Disney stuff. There's just been so much uh, wariness because they've used the same formulas for so long. I heard Thunderbolts was different. Tiara, is Thunderbolts worth seeing?
I liked it. It was fun.
Was it good?
Yeah, I like those characters. So the thing that keeps me coming back to the MCU is Bucky
Mhm.
Barnes. I love Bucky Barnes, and I would sell my soul for that man. Like
All right,
I
Becky
love,
Barnes, if you're out there, we got a super fan.
I love him. Like anyway, like I didn't watch anything really after Endgame except Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Moon Knight, but that was because I like Oscar Isaac, and then yeah, Thunderbolts. So it was fun. I liked it.
I was just happy for them to bring the Daredevil characters back. I was actually very
Yeah,
happy because I liked them from the
haven't seen
Netflix
that.
days. What was that?
I still haven't seen that. I really liked I really liked the Daredevil show, but
Mhm.
I haven't seen the new one. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who my favorite Marvel characters are. When I think back overall, I mean, I think Doctor Strange was always my favorite.
Really?
I always liked that that part of the universe.
I was
Maybe them or Jessica Jones. I thought Jessica
mm,
Jones was always a badass, but I always loved that actress in general.
she's so cool. But yeah, I think Steve Rogers and Bucky were like those were my boys.
Before Captain America changed wings.
Yeah.
Oh man, what about Soul Courtney? Do you guys are into Marvel at all, or not really? So just Ryan Reynolds for you, Courtney.
I'm
No.
kind of a fan of Iron
What's funny
Man.
is I don't like Ryan Reynolds at all. Like I don't like him as a person. I don't think he's attractive. Like
I don't like either. I don't see it for Ryan Reynolds.
he could be any person, but he's funny. So you know the humor, and when he's in the costume, like he's just a costume. Who's funny.
Yeah.
He's just a costume. So like when we think about like franchises like that, and especially like superheroes, as it's clearly its own genre. Why do you guys think people connect so much with superheroes? Like if I'm to think of it from like a writing standpoint and break it down as an archetype, why do you think it is what it is?
There's this interview I saw.
Sorry. I think people want to believe so hard that there's good in the world, and that if this evil is going to take us over, that the good people would come out and just save us all.
Mm-hmm. So that there's like somebody out there who has the power to fight off evil.
Well, not necessarily that. Like I feel like that's just the fantasy aspect, and they're like, yes, fantasy, you know. But I feel like it's the like just to break it all down to like the tiniest of parts. It's people want to believe that if everything is going to go haywire, that there will be a select few that will come out and good or bad, no matter the outcome, save humanity. Because, you know, that's the standard effect. Everyone's like, somebody else is going to do it, you know? Like, they're that somebody else that's going to do it. Like, you want to have hope that there will always be people like that that will run into the burning house because you're too scared, you know?
I could see that. I could actually totally see that.
But
I know
yeah,
for myself, I don't really get into like the Marvel and DC. That I didn't get too far into that. I got into Iron Man, a little bit into Spider-Man because Doc Ock, and surprisingly, despite how dark it is, Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Oh yeah, I did love Guardians of the Galaxy. I did.
God, that was kind of heartbreaking, like really bad. But it's probably the only Marvel movie like I legitimately like and will consistently go back and rewatch. The rest of them, the Iron Man movies are like the only other exception.
Is that because you are Groot?
No. No,
No,
I think I just go for smart characters.
Yeah, I could see that. Not every not a lot of the superhero characters are designed to be very intelligent.
I really need to.
I think part of it though is Iron like Tony Stark.
Mm-hmm.
The guy doesn't have fantastical powers. He
Mm-hmm.
wasn't born a mutant. He wasn't
Mm-hmm.
hit by a radioactive meteorite or something like that. He's just a
Mm-hmm.
really intelligent guy, really into robotics,
Mm-hmm.
and he built everything. I mean, seriously,
Mm-hmm.
the first
Yep.
movie, he was in a freaking cave in the desert, and he
Yeah,
built
and I
that
mean,
thing in his
yep.
chest.
I mean, if you guys think about the early Marvel, I mean, the movies that really took off was Iron Man. The original Hulk did actually do well, but Thor did well. All three of those set off. Captain America, that first, what was that? Winter Soldier? No, the first one. I forgot that one.
First,
But all those movies did really well because they were about people or what felt like people going through a real obstacle or weakness. And I
Yeah,
think Tony Stark. I remember Iron Man was like a box office success when that one came out.
no, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was when the pride started
Mm-hmm.
fading.
Yeah, but then I think what happens is a lot of the and this is actually the challenge with the superhero genre is it's difficult to write characters that are dealing with believable and real problems that's not then compensated by their magic abilities.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
and this goes into the I remember hearing
Well,
this
have you?
debate with the Superman debate of like Superman can basically do anything, yet his weakness is kryptonite, which is like a piece of rock. I was like, okay, well, don't go near the rock, and you're fine. So
Yeah,
it was like a contrived object that's so that way this character who can basically do anything can't do anything. So then you would think like, okay, well, just get around that. And the way they got around that was that okay, well, supervillains have like this kryptonite armor, and supervillains have like kryptonite stuff, and it was like a thing that was really contrived early on.
Well, have you ever heard the interview with? I think Stan Lee's the one that does Marvel, right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Have you ever heard like the interviews of him where he's like, I wanted every person on Earth to have a representation in
Mm-hmm.
my comics,
Mm-hmm.
and he researched everything. Him and whoever writes DC, because everyone knows Stan Lee. That one's
Mm-hmm.
not as well known to me,
Mm-hmm.
but they were like sharing notes back and forth because they both had the same mission of like every person was going to be in the comics some way somehow. So
Yeah.
I think it's funny that you're like the thing that Marvel doesn't do is represent, everyday life events because like that was his goal.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
And I mean, I think that came out in the original movies, and there's some movies where it does come out. But I think when we think about these big box office movies where millions upon millions of dollars are put into them, the end result isn't about character development and story. The end result is about engagement, and it's really actually more about engagement than anything else. So a lot of these character arcs feel broken because the characters are saying things that are meant to quippy one-liners that make people laugh because they make great moments because they make people feel like they're having a great time with some dramatic storytelling.
And my point to that is like I think that's where the studio is messing up because how many Superman or not Superman, how many Spider-Mans do we have?
Yet Endgame and Infinity War went on to make the highest grossing amount of money ever earned at that time.
Right, but you know what I mean? Like how many do we have?
Mm-hmm.
How many characters are in those comics? I'm not going to
There's a
pretend
lot.
to know that I've ever picked up a comic at all, but I do know that there's like an entire
insane
world.
amount.
I do. There's an entire
There
world,
is.
and we've seen maybe, and I'm being generous, 20 different people of that world.
Mm-hmm. No,
And
yeah,
like,
you're absolutely right. And there's just so much like mythology and so many things that have happened and so many alternate universes and parallel realities with each of the characters because the comics have been around for so many different universes for so long.
yeah,
Yeah,
then
you're absolutely right.
And the studios are basically just remaking fan fiction based off what was already made. Like, there's a whole world. Go with what the author gave you. Find another character. You know what I
can
mean?
see making a few different, like, I can see maybe making like 4 or 5 different iterations of one character, but beyond that, it just seems like massive overkill. Like, honestly, I have to admit, I love Into the Spider-Verse. I love that little movie series.
I thought it was cute. Into the Spider-Verse also did very, very well. It was
Yeah,
like
and
for an animated movie that killed box office.
but I asked my husband because he knows comics better than I do. But all the
Mhm.
Spider-Man that appeared in the second movie,
Mhm.
they were all legitimate Spider-Man, and it was like 100 of them, if not more.
And I
And
think that's what I think Sony has figured that out to an extent with the movies that they've done with Spider-Man, because they've really tried to cater to a larger percentage of fan service. And you know who was the fans that the animated movie was made for? Comic book fans, because they're the ones who've been with the universe the
Yeah.
most. But the animation style was cute and it was fun and it was well written. And I would say Into the Spider-Verse was a great movie.
Well, no, I was just throwing out one that I know has had multiple different actors. But my point is, like, there are other characters. Like, where's Mr. Freeze's own? And I know that's DC, but where's Mr. Freeze's own movie? You know what I mean?
He'll probably get his movie soon. I mean, now that Guardians of the Galaxy, what's his face, is in charge of DC. James Gunn? Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because DC has the cinematic universe of DC has really struggled a lot because they've tried to copy what Marvel's done for so long. So they basically they're like, I think that was like 2 years ago, I think, when it was announced that James Gunn would take over the entire DC franchise.
But I mean, I feel like that had everything to do with the criminal trial that was going on that affected the superhero universes.
You're talking about for the original, the bad guy, that actor was.
No, I'm talking about the Depp versus Heard trial.
Maybe. I mean, that could have been a factor, but I'm not sure how much that was influenced into the DC.
A lot of people boycotted Aquaman 2, and so it didn't like.
I remember
and there was billions.
You're right. There was actually a number. That's right. There was a number of DC controversies. I think there was a DC controversy with the Shazam actor too.
And the Flash.
And you're right.
Actor who and they wouldn't take him out.
It was really bad timing.
Everything was happening all at once, and they were in court on screen saying like, no, you know, like,
it was another reason that I think they did a whole reset. But granted, I've never been a big DC fan, personally, but it's, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I've definitely left the movie. Like, well, it was a drive-in theater and it was a double feature, but like, I definitely left in the middle of Superman versus Batman. So
I do have to say, one of my a superhero TV show I've always appreciated was. Did any of you guys see The Boys?
Yeah, it's okay.
I like seeing superheroes as the bad guys, and I always thought that was an interesting twist.
Yeah, that was always an interesting twist.
I haven't seen the most recent season. I saw, I think, season 3, and then I haven't seen it.
Mix. I mean, the challenge with TV shows is that a lot of times the first season start off really great, but then they don't always get to stick to the creative control of whoever the creator or the original one. And there's always a lot of balance between what the studio wants, people who are paying the money and paying the bills, and then what the creative wants, because then it goes back into engagement and marketing and advertising and so many things, and then contracts, and that's like it's like welcome to Hollywood.
Right. But the creative person knows what the readers want. The creative person knows what the readers want because they're the ones that create.
Yeah, tell that to any Hollywood executive.
Yeah, right. It made me no money, and
that is not the way that Hollywood works out at all. Like,
I know, but I mean, like if you look at look at Snow White, it tanked.
Yeah, Snow White tanked.
And
No, I
there are
definitely.
plenty of people that love those stories and that will go see them.
But I mean, of those live action movies, I mean, I want to say the live action musical trend started after. I forgot. I think Beauty and the Beast. I think Beauty
Yeah,
and
I
the
was gonna
Beast
say,
was
I
the
think
first
so.
one,
I think
and it did really well.
Emma Watson's did
Emma
really well.
Watson did well. I think Aladdin did well. I don't think
Aladdin
it
came out at the wrong time. They should have held that.
but
Yeah.
I think it still did.
Right
I think it
after
still did
Robin
well
Williams.
enough because I don't think Aladdin tanked. I think it did well. It was before the Will Smith controversy.
Yes, but it was right after Robin Williams passed.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
They should
But
have
I almost
held
feel
that.
like they did that intentionally. I feel like that was like an intentional like everyone's
was
thinking about Robin Williams now they want to see Aladdin. I feel like that was intentional.
It was already coming out, and then
Mhm.
everybody was like, I can't watch that without Robin Williams. Robin Williams will always be Genie. And they
Mhm.
were like, and then Will Smith came out and was like, I'm trying to honor Robin Williams with this role. And like, he was my inspiration. And then everyone, like, some people went and saw it because of that. And some people were like, yeah, no. I can't.
Yeah, no.
One thing that made it good though is at least he wasn't trying to be Robin Williams.
Yeah.
That did make it a little better.
But I think there have been a lot of live action Disney movies that have tanked. Like Dumbo did very, very badly. I think Dumbo was the worst performing.
Made a live
I
action.
don't even remember that movie. I remember seeing
Exactly.
the trailers, but it was kind of it.
But Maleficent.
And then I mean, there's more live action coming out. I mean, I think their next round is the newer age ones. Like I think they have a Moana one.
Yeah, there's a Moana live action being made, and then Lilo and Stitch
Frozen?
comes out. I think the end of this month.
Which one? Oh, the Lilo
Lilo
and
and
Stitch
Stitch.
one. Yeah, I think Lilo Stitch is this summer's box one. I mean, we'll see. I mean, who knows? I'm just like neutral on the live action ones. Like
they make me so irrationally angry. Like not even like it's so like everything made me so mad. Like it you know, people get on their high horse and they're like, this is slop. No, these live action nonsense, literal TV show lunch food. Like it's
people,
disgusting.
yeah,
like,
people pay money to go see these, Tiara. As long,
yeah,
and
I know.
this is always the challenge, right? So the goal isn't to create incredible movies. The goal is to create good movies that meet a certain quality.
To make money, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked at AMC when Aladdin and The Lion King and all that stuff came out. So I know.
Mufasa was really good though.
Which one?
Mufasa, the one that just came out.
Oh, did you like Mufasa?
Oh my god, it was so good.
I could not get over how well they did that. The lions, like the CGI for them, worked a lot better than it did for the Lion King.
So good. So good.
Really?
I would highly recommend Mufasa.
So Mufasa was rolled out. And you see, right, as long as they have movies that still do well, they're going to keep turning them all into live actions.
Yeah, but the thing is, that wasn't an animated movie first, though. Mufasa was technically an original.
I will go. I
thought Mufasa was based off like the Broadway. I thought it was based off the Broadway musical.
Was there a Broadway for that?
I
know there's a Broadway for the Lion King.
Yeah, there's a Broadway for the Lion King. I don't know if there's a Broadway for Mufasa, but it is a great story and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a prequel almost.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of is.
Just came out after.
Oh man, live action fun stuff. Who doesn't love live actions?
This kind of goes with Sarah's question before you hopped in, which no one but chat really got to answer. But her question was like, what are we watching that's like inspiring us and getting us, or what are you watching or reading that's inspiring you and getting you to like?
Oh, that's actually a great
question. Or
writing
and stuff like that.
What are we watching or reading that's inspiring us right now?
Yeah,
that's a great one. What are you guys watching and reading that are inspiring you right now?
Well, I'm binging.
I already have my answer. Right what was that?
I'm binging through One Piece right now. I'm rewatching the series, and I'm getting near the end of Skypiea when Luffy kicks Enel's butt. Other than that, I'm rereading through the Bloody Jack series. I'm on book 2 right now, and God, I picked out something. Oh, and I'm reading through the City of Ember series.
Ooh, it's a good
Not
series.
not a fan of the fourth book, but I like the first 3 books.
Mm-hmm. They all can't be awesome.
Fair. I've been watching The Pit, and I'm obsessed with it. Like,
Wait, the pit.
it's a doctor show on HBO Max, and it is
Yep. Okay, I've seen the advertisement for that. Is it good? Is
fantastic.
it a good?
Like,
The only doctor show I've ever loved was House. House was the one
really,
doctor
I
show I
like
like
House. I used
loved.
to watch House too.
Grey's
But,
Anatomy,
But
ER.
Grey's
You
Anatomy
didn't
is actually one of the most
ER?
popular. I think Grey's Anatomy is the most popular medical procedural show of all
You
time
didn't
still.
like ER with George Clooney?
ER's done well, but Grey's Anatomy has still always been like the longest running, the
Yeah,
one of the
the
doctors
awards.
in ER
Grey's
is
Anatomy
in
is
The
going to
Pit.
stop after Derek died. Okay, I will die on a hill.
Oh man. Let's see, Courtney, what about you? Anything
Okay,
inspiring you?
So watching Sons of Anarchy because
Mhm.
I had like as soon as I finished these 11 chapters when
Of
I
which, let's be real, Sons of Anarchy got extremely overshadowed by Breaking Bad, which Breaking Bad is incredible. At the time, it won all the awards, and Sons of Anarchy was always like stuck in the shadows because they had more gang violence.
yeah,
I remember
I've
that.
never seen Breaking Bad. I was a Sons of
I'm
Anarchy
sorry.
person, so I'm watching.
I love Sons of. I think Sons of Anarchy was great. I think
Yeah.
just in comparison, that category, that's like, but Sons of Anarchy was great.
Yeah, I'm binging that so I can get back in the mindset of Razor when I pick that up
Mhm.
after it finished Fallen, and then
Mhm.
I'm binge reading as much as I can every
Mhm.
book from the author I'm going to see at the end of the month. Even though I've
Ooh.
already read them, I'm rereading them and binging them.
Ooh.
That's
You
so
going
cool.
to you gonna say hi to the author when you go see them?
If I don't go nonverbal, absolutely.
If you
But
don't
like,
go nonverbal.
yeah, because I want to ask her like how she did it. You know, like
Mhm.
what was her inspiration? Because she's one of the people who like I would read her books and I'd be like, I could write a book. And then I'd
Are,
read another one of her
are they
books and
gonna
I'd
do
go,
like a
I
book
could write a
signing?
book.
Are
Yeah.
they gonna do like a book
Yeah.
signing thing, right? So then you're
Yeah.
going to have the chance to have like a momentary like face to face, right?
Yeah. If I don't
Yeah, maybe
fangirl
you should
too
like write
hard,
your questions down.
yeah.
Or record the question beforehand and then just get there and be like, I can't
Yeah,
speak.
no, my mom's gonna be with me, and I got her into books, and now she's obsessed. So I'm like, you can talk,
Mhm.
but ask my questions too.
Aw.
So yeah, I'm super excited. So
You guys are all watching good things. You guys are all definitely watching good things. When I try to think of what I've watched in this past year, and I feel like I've watched a lot of like repeat stuff. Because I can just throw it on in the background. I want to say that I think I rewatched Dexter at one point. Always loved Dexter, was fun. Recently rewatched. I did Lost for a while because I was curious to see if it was still good. I did Game of Thrones at one point to see if the ending was any better. Um,
no,
no, it wasn't. But I didn't dislike the second to last season as much, even though the pacing is still a huge problem. But let's see. I think the show that I'm most inspired now is probably The Last of Us still. And it's just like such a good story. Like
Yeah.
The Last of Us
I
is just
just
like
got
such a
caught up on
good
that
story.
yesterday.
It's like whether or not you like zombies or not, it's just a good story.
Yeah.
It
I
is.
really
Set
hope
in
it
a
doesn't
zombie
do
world.
what The Witcher did.
What was that?
And I said I really hope it doesn't do what The Witcher did because like without any of the knowledge, but I was with somebody who had all this knowledge.
Mhm.
When The Witcher moved away from the games, the books, the lore,
Mhm.
the lead actor left. And that was like the pivotal moment of when they were moving away from the fan base. I hope
Yeah.
Last of Us.
Have any of you guys played the games? Do you guys know the storyline from the games?
Little bit.
No, again, I was
Okay.
just with somebody who had
Mhm.
all that lore and like it was right after that came out right after they changed The Witcher and he was like, they better not do
Mhm.
this. Like they better not change it from the game.
Mm,
A few
I
changes here or there are fine, but when they make like a massive jump, that's
Massive.
when it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
and I think the Last of Us creators have done a good job of
Yeah.
transitioning it to the screen. Um,
Well, it's only like the second season, right?
Yes, but I mean, I think that what's interesting is that there's only 2 games. There's only 2 Last of Us games, and
Right.
that second game was very divisive because of what happened to the main character in the second season, and what the creators have said, and I think you can tell the vision that the creators have for it, I think works in elevating the storyline, but they've said they're not going to move beyond the games. They said that they're going to tell 3 seasons until they catch up to the end of the second game, and then they're just going to stop because they just wanted to tell the games that were out.
Right.
That's actually not a bad idea, and that
Mhm.
might really work in their favor. I
But
mean, Last
they're
of
able to
Us
get
is-
away with it because they set that precedent with HBO with Max at the beginning,
Mm.
right?
Yeah,
Whereas Game of Thrones weren't able to set that precedent. They're like, oh, we just have to keep creating. So the structure and the framework was different. Yeah. Hey, what's up, by the way? Battle Chai Comics. We were literally just talking about like a bunch of comic stuff, actually. Welcome. Yeah, Maddie's right. You're like, Mazen is so open with his method for writing. I highly recommend checking out his podcast. He is. And actually, what I do love is when creators like that, especially filmmakers, are able to kind of talk through what their process is like on the back end.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, TR, you work on screenplays as well. You work on scripts too, right?
Yep.
So, Courtney, have you guys ever worked on a script before?
I had to for class.
You're like, never touching a script again.
Yeah, no, there's a reason I don't want to be a TV writer, and my God, it's because of that second class I had to take. We had to watch a video on a guy who's actually like an actual like TV writer, and he did the video on what it takes to become a TV writer, like legitimately what it does take and how difficult it is. And I had a few other of my classmates agree with me. Yeah, after watching that video, we're not becoming TV writers. It's too competitive, it's too difficult.
It is.
There's not enough places to go for that kind of thing. Movies is one thing. TV is a lot harder. I will admit, despite that, I actually do have a story idea I did think about turning into a TV series because it actually seems to work like that better than it does a novel. But I don't think I'd ever actually be able to do anything with it.
What about a graphic novel then?
I don't know because it's kind of like a parallel universe kind of thing. You've got the character that like every other chapter is from one point of view from from universe A, and the other chapters are from universe B. It's the same character, but like one choice made a difference and changed everything, and it's a little confusing to write.
I'm
That's me
very
saying
much
I wrote it.
I am very much a fan about being able to adapt a story or a universe to different mediums. I think adaptations are interesting, but I think they're difficult to do. And I think unless you understand that medium and you understand as a writer what is not you're not just taking the story, but you also have to take the understanding of what that new type of medium is in a way that that audience or readership wants to consume it is really the key to success. Like I would love to like down the line, like I feel confident that I could write a script if I wanted to, but I feel confident that I could translate parts of the Scarecrow universe into different mediums, right? I mean, like I know we had the Lost Crow coming to a game store 2030. Oh man. So, but I mean, I feel like there's so many different ways. But I was like, I could totally do like a 5 minute like animated thing, and I could probably make it super cool because it's a world full of animals. So I think that would be cutesy. Battle has a great question. Would you say it's harder because of the constant changes due to actors, crew, etc.? I guess what I mean is like you have to be ready to make changes due to random shit happening, and you can no longer use the original idea you whipped up. Yeah, so speaking to like screenwriting, and this is so anybody who's a screenwriter is probably aware. If you option your script to a studio, the script that you option or that you sell them is not the script that you're going to see on screen. It's going to go through a lot of their executives, producers, and writers, and you're basically selling away your rights of the script unless you work it out in negotiations. But usually, the script that's on screen, it's like such like a trial. It's like a battle, And then when something is filming, once you are in production, it's not about the script. It's about the actors, right? Who are all under contract. It's about lighting. It's about the producers who are paying the money for the things. It's about costume and art direction and set and like so many logistical components that have to be figured out and worked out along each step of the way. Production lifestyle is stressful AF. Production lifestyle can be really, really stressful. And there's a reason that that's like one of the ways to break into Hollywood, but it's kind of like having done a lot of production work, they're like long, like 10 to 15-hour days. And it's like if you're new to it, it's like it can be a cool experience, but every production's different. Yeah.
Yeah, Battle Chi Comics. Yeah, no, it's definitely tough.
I would like definitely, and because I thought about this because I do like writing scripts. I want to be my own filmmaker. So with things that I create, I'm going to just create myself and put teams together. When I'm in the place to A, be able to afford the teams, right? Because I want to pay people for their time, and then B, be able to have the energy and resources to do what I want to do, as compared to I sell my product to somebody else to make.
Yeah, remember the write-a-thon
Mhm.
that you had? Who was that screenwriter? I have my TBIs coming out. And I can't remember his-
So one of my good friend of mine, Joshua Empiro, is a screenwriter, and he's like full in on screenwriting, and he's been doing it for years. But he's very much into comedic. He's like all about comedy, and like his things are pretty funny. His YouTube channel, Josh Makes Movies. He does a lot of sketch. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was I think what he said was like he didn't want to give it away. Like he only wanted to make his own stuff. Like he wanted to be the one making it.
Mm-hmm. And some writers are like that, especially like screenwriters. Some screenwriters are like that because they recognize once they give it away, it's no longer going to be their rights or ownership. But the other side of that is then if you want to be a filmmaker, then you need to have you either have to know the people to do the things, you have to have the equipment, or you have to have the resources to pay for the things.
Yeah.
Anything in media is like 40% knowing what you're doing and 60% networking.
Networking.
Yeah,
Networking is a huge portion. I think you could probably say that about a lot of industries, that like getting into where you want to get to, networking is a huge thing, because if you're prepared, I always like that quote. It was what was that? Luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And that was always a saying that technically there's no such thing as luck, but if you're prepared when you're networking with the right person, then you'll get some type of a shot or chance at something, whether that's a screenwriter trying to get their script sold to the right person, or whether that's a writer who's at a conference who meets an agent or meets somebody who is the next step in their journey.
That's fair.
This is another reason. Be kind to everyone. That's like my be kind to everyone. I know everyone in our community is super chill, but it's just like, especially with what the world is, like even when people make you upset, like you don't know who's who. Don't take BS from people. Obviously, you have to have boundaries. But I think
But also don't be a jerk.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Don't be a jerk.
Just go on TikTok and ask the professional way to tell somebody to go F themselves. Like,
all right, Courtney, there's the strategy. I gotta have my save TikTok playlist of the Go F Yourself playlist.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, like, there's a professional way to say what you actually feel, and you not get walked on, but you're also not looked at as like a bad person because like you overreacted or you were uber mean or anything like that. Like, this could have been an email. No, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a nice way to say that sounds professional, and you don't look like the bad person in the situation. It's like holding up a mirror and then just showing them themselves. Like, nope, you're still the bad guy.
I mean, I think for a lot of people it's easier said than done, because logically a lot of people understand that, but in the moment, so responding emotionally is always what's difficult.
Oh yeah, that's definitely something like practice.
Having done customer service for 15 plus years, like, trust me, I know that very well. People get upset about the color of their coffee and the 1.5 grains of sugar instead of like 3 grains of sugar, like, you know, all those things.
Yeah.
$2 discount on their half gallon of Malibu rum. Like,
Oh yeah, Tara, I'm sure you've seen. I'm sure you deal with
whatever.
so much like BS with what you've seen.
Yeah.
Huh?
I only get irritated when I ask for a military discount and then I have to prove. I mean, not that I have to prove that I'm a veteran. Like, obviously, like I
Like
have
you
no
shouldn't have to prove that to
problem.
anyone, but they're like, no, you're not in the military. You were
They're
never in
like,
the
this
military.
is a dependent card, and I'm like, actually, that says medically retired, not dependent. So no, maybe read. Like that's the only time where I'm like, yeah, no, there's no me being in control of my emotions. There's no filter. There's no nothing. Like there's those moments where I'm like, yeah, no.
Oh, by the way, I want to call out Maddie. You're saying, oh, a warning about Rider Duet. They were charging me twice the amount they were supposed to the whole time, so keep an eye on them. I've never used that platform, so I'm just not familiar with them. But Maddie, what you should do is go throw up that warning in the Discord. There's a scam channel, so that way writers are aware of it. Because I think with any type of scam or things that don't feel right, the more we can try to spread awareness, the more we can try to help each other out from getting scammed from things like that.
It's under Chapter 5 services and promo.
Mm-hmm. You said Chapter 5.
Yeah, Chapter 5 services and promo. It's in there.
Cool. Okay. Well, at least you got a refund. That was a win-win.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe just like put it out, like not necessarily a scam, but like be on alert, check your bank.
Mm-hmm. Man, it's really interesting. I think it's going to be one of my goals over the summer. Once I've gotten through Faded Fantasy and AWC, I'll have maybe like a 2-week breather before the next thing. But I think one of my goals, at least for the weekly streams, I really want to increase my awareness of writing platforms that are out there. So I don't feel like I have a lot of familiarity with like writing platforms. Like I know of some of the names, but I just don't feel like very like knowledgeable about what some of the things are that they do. I feel like most like beginner writers or writers who are working on a low budget generally use Google Docs and Microsoft Word. But there's some better options out there, and I feel like there has to be really good low cost options out there.
I
use AutoCrit myself. I don't pay for it right now, although I actually would not mind doing that. Keeps track of my word count. I actually have everything very nicely organized in different different folders for all the projects I've got. It keeps track of how much I've written a day. Keeps a track of. I can like set goals for myself, different things like that. There's like a readability, word like tenses. God, without looking at it like off the top of my head, there's not too much the free can do, but enough that it's worth it. Enough that it's worth at least trying it out. The premium version, which is like $30 a month. God, it is. I really want that.
Really?
It's got so much.
I did like the functionality of AutoCrit at the time. I think my problem with it wasn't like, because I was loading my whole document, the whole Scarecrow document into the program. It had troubles keeping up without lagging while I was live streaming at the same time. Because I really wanted to switch to another writing program at the time, but I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to finish Scarecrow with MS Word, and I'll get something else later on. But it's more just for organization, so I could show more on screen.
Well, and you also have to consider that like your limitations for a program are not necessarily going to be like my limitations. I'm not live
exactly
streaming.
Right, and that was just a me thing, right? Yeah. I have to recognize that, like for me, from a streaming perspective, like that's a different.
But it's still nice to know
on my computer, huh?
Yeah, it's still nice to know if other people want that tidbit of information that wasn't known before you tried it.
Yeah.
But I think what I really liked though about the platform was like I liked the layout of it. I actually thought the layout. I was never used to having like this huge word count tracker there. I'm like, dang, I really like that thing, and just like all the options to make revision and editing for stories so much easier.
Yes.
I think any way that we can make the writing process easier for writers, not things writing for us, not AI writing the story for us, but things that we can improve the efficiency of like revising stories and improving our word choice and understanding how we improve as a writer. I think that's success right there.
Yeah. Reedsy actually just dropped a pay option, but I'm in the free trial right now to just try it out. And it will be like how many times you've used same words, same phrases.
Mm-hmm.
But like they have like a different, like, so you have the section that you write in, and then they have another
Mhm.
section that you like plan in, and they have like
Mhm.
boards and outlines, and you can insert those sections and notes onto your manuscript, and it's in like two different like sections. It's like
Mhm.
I like Readsy.
Mhm. And
And
is it what about the I mean, obviously we know Readsy is a very big platform, but in terms of the writing part of it, what about the writing part do you like?
I like that it formats it,
Mm-hmm.
and then like if when I send it out to like get feedback and stuff, I like that like it's all formatted, and it's formatted in EPUB. So it's like already formatted for publish.
Mm-hmm.
It's got like the indentions correct, like the chapter heads look all cutesy and whatnot, and like you can pick between different styles. And obviously I have Turo's romance because I like the little flurry, flirty things. But like you can change it up and like look at it in different styles, and it like you can do your about authors with links already, and it like gives you as a PDF. Like I like that. Like I like that you can do a cover already on it and stuff like that.
Okay. That's actually really interesting. And then so you said you like AutoCrit for the capability of all like the ways it can go through the revision types
Yep.
of things, right? And analysis. What
Yeah,
about you, Sarah?
there's a story analysis that it has that's locked behind the paywall.
Mhm.
But I did actually get a chance to use that once, and
Mhm.
I used it on one of my old fan fictions that I had finished, and it made literally one mistake, and
Mhm.
that mistake was literally because I misspelled something. So it was not the program's fault; it was my
Mhm.
own. And it's like, oh, this is actually really cool. And like pulling it up, yeah, there's like fiction analyzer, nonfiction, summary reports. There's all
Mhm.
kinds of things for pacing, dialogue. Um, so like adverbs, dialogue tags, different kinds of like word choices you use. Like point of view consistency is one thing I would kill to try out because I feel
Mhm.
like sometimes I mess up on that personally. Personal words and phrases. It's got a lot of it is locked behind the paywall, but there's
Mhm.
quite a few things that are free that
Mhm.
it's enough to help you out right now until you can either pay or find some other way to do it.
Mhm.
That cat is begging for attention.
She wants
Right.
my time.
Oh man. Well, I think this is an absolutely great conversation. I wasn't even in the writing vibe when I came into, and now I really wish I could write. This is I've been having that bane of my existence this past week of really wanting to write and not actually being able to write.
Yeah.
Life of a
Same.
writer, it happens. Sometimes you have the periods where you want to write all the time, sometimes you don't want to write. And if I have the time, then I force myself to write anyways.
Yep, I've
Yeah.
been doing that. I make myself write at least 1,000 words a day,
Good for
whether I
you.
want to or not.
I'm hoping when I hit a certain point in my schedule, I can change my daily writing goal to writing for a certain, because right now I aim to write a certain amount of time per day, and I'm really hoping I can change to a certain word count per day. But my lifestyle is just not there for now. So awesome. Well, guys, this conversation has been great, and everyone, please give Chatso a round for please thank you for hosting in my absence.
It was just a fun writing sprint.
As Kaufman also almost missed the 46 meeting. I have to try to keep up with you, so I can't miss out on our 46 gold stars.
Yeah.
That is what I'm going to create. I'm going to create the little gold dragon stickers. That's what I will create. That'll be like the best thing. Instead of a gold star, it'll be a gold dragon sticker.
That
Just
would work
don't
a
forget
lot
to put
better.
right now.
What was that?
Just don't forget to put right now on it.
I know. I probably need to. I know the next thing I need to create needs to be like a Right Now branded dragon with the Right Now logo on it. TBD. But Courtney, Tiara, thank you guys for joining today. Always a pleasure to see you guys on screen, whether we are talking about screenplays, Marvel, writing software, or anything in between.
Yeah.
All right, my friends. Thank you all for joining us today. It's been a great conversation. Big, so good to see you in here. I'm glad you're still working, but we're kind of wrapping up now. Come join us in the Discord. If you want to keep talking about writing, come join us in the Discord. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We got some cool things. So Courtney, you're doing your thing on Friday.
Yeah, the Cozy with Courtney reading for the Read Now book club, Her Perfect Hero by Emma Bennett. So make sure you guys get that so that we can read it on Friday.
And it's going to be a Discord exclusive event. And then on Saturday, so what do you got going?
I have my Write Chat, which is essentially like Wednesday nights, except a lot more casual. It's just a fun little co-working session. Do you want to sit down and work with others? Do you need some help with your stories? Do you just want to chat about writing in a non-live stream environment? And there's no focus on being on camera or anything like that. We don't even have to use voice. We can just use chat. It's just come in, chat with the other writers. I follow Kaufman's example and I stream whatever I'm writing at the time, which right now is my fan fiction, at least until the contest, because what I really want to be working on is the expanded version what I did for the contest.
You're
It's
not
killing me
alone.
that I can't work on it on Saturday.
I've had a couple writers say that they now want to expand their flash fiction.
Oh, that is just awesome.
That's funny because I already have my idea for Freaky Friday, which is an expansion.
I mean, no what? Freaky Friday will be here before we know it. Jezebel will start trying to attack me from the Aether. So that is so awesome. And once again, we just want to give everyone more ways to just be able to write. Whether you want to just hang out with other writers, Discord's just super casual. And I think that's the plus, right? Hopping on a live stream. I can live stream for 500 days. Some of us can live stream all the time, but it's live streaming being on camera live isn't for everybody. And I think the cool thing with Discord is it's very easy. You don't even have to be on camera and you can still just chill and talk with everyone.
Yeah. Or type if you don't want to talk.
Yeah. Awesome. And then I'll be back with the story. Obviously, tomorrow is writing sprint. Tomorrow's Thursday. Yes, writing sprint day tomorrow I think it's at the end of the day. I forgot. Oh, it's a TBD. I'll sprint at some point tomorrow. And then Sunday is the next story and critique stream. So Sunday, if you need feedback on your story, Sunday is the vibe. Your last chance to get some feedback before submissions for Faded Fantasy are due. Sunday night.
Yeah. Also, if you guys want to see what that looks like, there is a list compiled that you can go pick stories and genres that you want to see. Also, the playlist is on YouTube.
Yeah. And we also have the Right Now pledge, Courtney. I totally forgot about that.
Oh my gosh, yes.
By the way, if you have a pledge, if you have a really cool pledge for the community, you should make a pledge. We started kind of joking last week. But if you have a cool pledge, we're going to highlight it on the website. The brand new updated Right Now website, which I love.
Yes, and he will not forget for Monday to pick one.
He will not. He will not.
So you guys have until Monday to come up with your own pledges.
Let's see. Unwritten. Wait, does the feedback on Sunday have to be for the contest or can it be for anything we're working? It can be for anything you're working on. It can be for anything. So the Sunday story and critique stream is separate from the contest. The timing is just critique stream happens to be Sunday afternoon and the contest deadline is Sunday night. So it's just the timing. Great question. You guys can submit. Everyone should submit now though, because I have no clue how many stories are submitted on there.
Mine is.
Woo, I'm looking forward to it. All right, my friends. Thank you all so much for joining us. It's been great conversation. And I think that's all we got for you today. And I'll see if I can do this. I'm Kaufman, and this is
Chat Soul.
And no, I don't know if I can find an angle.
Yeah, you're right there.
I'm Tiara.
And I'm Courtney.
And we'll catch you on the next stream. Take care, Riders.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.